Now, if you were here last Sunday evening, you remember how we introduced this letter to Titus, or I should say how Paul introduces his letter to Titus, how he emphasizes that he was an apostle and he was a bondservant of Jesus Christ, and because of these facts, he was under an obligation to complete a mission given to him by the Lord Jesus Christ to share the gospel and to proclaim it across the world. And Paul felt very strongly this mission that had been laid upon him. But as we said last week, he was approaching now the end of his life. But he knew the mission still remained active. He was approaching the end of his life, but he still had the mission, or the mission still needed to be accomplished. So he writes this letter to Titus, who was one of his fellow travelers on at least one of his missionary journeys. And he writes to Titus, who he has left behind in Crete, and he encourages him to continue the mission, to plant churches, to continue to preach the gospel. And in verse 5, he says to Titus, choose in the churches, choose wise men, good men who will be leaders in the churches. And that is Paul's first command, first instruction to Titus, is choose good men to be leaders in the churches. And by putting that in first place in this letter,